I've always believed that words are harmless until they're heard by the wrong ears. And that night, in that tiny moment, soaked in carelessness and laughter, I proved just how deadly one unchecked sentence could be. Because I was venting, that's all. Just a harmless rant with my best friend in the break room after a long, exhausting day at the firm, my nerves fried, my mouth moving faster than my mind. And the moment felt so ordinary, so insignificant, just to coworkers unwinding over lukewarm coffee and gossip. And I never once thought about who could be listening, never once glanced behind me, because I had no idea that he, the man I loved, the man who once made my hands shake and my chest ache with a single glance, was standing barely 2 feet away, listening to every syllable of a sentence I didn't even realize I'd said. I don't even know if I love him anymore. Honestly, sometimes I think I just like the idea of him. And even as I said it, I barely meant it. It was just noise, frustration, a stupid echo of the doubts that creep in when you're overwhelmed and burn out, and haven't slept properly in 3 nights. But the moment those words hit the air, they became something else, solid, irreversible, weaponized, and I didn't notice him until I turned around to throw away my coffee cup and saw him standing there, his face pale, eyes wide, that familiar little twitch in his jaw that always showed up when he was holding back too much at once. And in that instant, my entire body went cold. Because you can explain away many things in life: a missed call, a forgotten anniversary, a jealous look, but you can't explain away words, like those when they fall into ears that trust you blindly. And I stammered, reached out, said his name like a question, like a plea. But he didn't answer, didn't blink, didn't even breathe, it seemed. And I could almost see the exact second his heart cracked, the exact moment he stepped out of the fantasy we had both built and into the brutal clarity of reality. And I tried to explain, tried to take it back, said things like I didn't mean it, and you weren't supposed to hear that, which only made it worse. Because what kind of excuse is that? Really, that the truth you speak behind someone's back is somehow not real, just because they weren't supposed to hear it? And he stepped back, 2 steps, like each inch between us might protect him from the hurt. And finally he said, "So what exactly do I mean to you? Comfort? Familiarity? Just convenience?" And I stood there, frozen, my mind racing, my heart breaking, because I loved him. I really did. I just didn't realize how fragile that love had become until I saw how easily my careless tongue shattered it. And I said, "No, please, you're everything." But it was too late, because he had already heard something truer than any apology I could conjure. He had heard the sentence I didn't even hear myself say, and now it was the only thing echoing between us. And I chased him out the break room, down the hallway, to the elevator, but he wouldn't stop, wouldn't even look back. And for weeks after that, my texts went unanswered. My calls rang until they didn't, and the silence was worse than any fight we could have had, because it meant he was choosing the absence of me over the doubt I had planted in his heart. And I kept wondering, what if I hadn't said it? What if I had turned around just 10 seconds sooner? What if I had caught the bitterness before it slipped out like a snake from my mouth? But what ifs don't change the past. They only poison the present. And now I pass him in the office sometimes, and he won't meet my eyes, won't even give me a polite nod. And it's like I don't exist, like all our inside jokes, all our Sunday mornings and late night drives never happened. And my friend, the one who heard me say those words, doesn't bring it up anymore, doesn't mention his name or mine. And that silence is heavy too, because it's not just him I lost. It's the version of myself that was whole when I was with him. The girl who believed her love was enough. The girl who didn't yet know that a single sentence can define you in someone else's story. And now I write unsent letters and keep them in a drawer. Things I wish I had said instead. Like, "You make me believe in gentle things," or "I love you, not the idea of you." But he'll never read them, never know. Because when trust is shattered by your own voice, no one else can fix it. Not even the one who broke it. And so I walk through my days as if I'm fine, as if losing the only person who ever saw all of me and still stayed wasn't my own doing. And every night I lie awake replaying that moment, the smell of burnt coffee, the sound of fluorescent lights humming above, and the ghost of him standing behind me, while I had no idea what I just said until it was far too late.